I think the party needs to let the people decide and pick and listen to what the people, its supporters, want. I think there's a lot of briefcase carrying and a lot of shuffling about as people are searching for self-survival. And therefore, the will of the people might not be the priority for some operatives.
What are the members saying at this point?
The members want opportunity of choice.
You don't want to endorse Ruto?
It's the Orange Democratic Movement. I can't speak for all the members. The members must speak for themselves, and that's where the National Convention comes in.
Winnie Odinga, the former premier's daughter, has come out to point out some leadership gaps that are being experienced in his father's party, that is the Orange Democratic Movement, which, according to her, she's saying there is a lot of briefcase carrying, there is a lot of money that people are being given in order to destroy his father's legacy. According to Winnie Odinga, she's saying Raila Odinga's party, that is his father's party, used to listen to the common Mwananchi's grievances, used to do exactly what Mwananchi needed, used to listen to the ground. But now, the party has turned against common Mwananchi. It is doing things that are punishing, that are punitive to the common Mwananchi. According to Winnie Odinga, she's saying the party leadership as per now, it is being driven by anxiety, people are being given money, and also they are being bought. That is according to Winnie Odinga. When she was asked about her support to the President William Samoei Arap Ruto, she answered it rightly and saying she's not supporting Ruto. She hasn't been challenged or yet convinced to support William Samoei Ruto fully. She's still making her mind, but she feels that the party should be left to people to decide on what they want, as it was when Raila Odinga was leaving. She's saying the party Raila Odinga left is not the same party that is running, that is there. It's not the ODM that used to be known. The ODM Raila Odinga left is not the ODM we are seeing. That is according to Winnie Odinga. She has described the party which she's saying it has been auctioned by the state. I wish we could listen to her. She's saying Kenyans are going through hell. Kenyans are going through a lot. Ever since Papa departed, they have been left on their own. The ODM party that has been fighting for Kenyans forever and ever now has left Kenyans alone. Leaders are no longer fighting for Kenyans. They are fighting for their own stomachs. Let's listen to Dada Winnie Odinga.
It's basically just pointing out the things that are terrible and saying how you'll fix them. So you'll get a lot of support. Winning the election is not the hard part. But the tools of power to get over sometimes are much farther away. How the system is designed are not as easy to reach as simply just winning an election.
So it's not just about the people and the number of votes?
Well, absolutely not.
What else?
Essentially, it's just power.
Power?
Yeah.
Some persons didn't want him to be president?
Yes, obviously, definitely.
Some persons?
Yes, perhaps, yes.
The persons own the system?
Systems are controlled by very many different actors in this world. A lot of the things that we are seeing in this world and how things happen are controlled by different actors. I mean, you just referenced the World Cup, for example. There was a system that disadvantaged perhaps even African players and fans. if you, for example, conclude that fans do make a match, do improve the performance of players, then fans being not allowed into certain countries because they can't get visas because of simply where they come from, then it's a disadvantage. And that's, again, another system at play. So systems are controlled all over.
But Raila was too big. Raila was a system.
Yes.
That system would have broken any system.
To some degree, it did. To some degree, it did. The reason you're saying Raila was so big was because he was able to break the system down in different parts. And every government from the last 30 years has at some point had to look for Raila Odinga to steady the ship and to help lead the country. Every single government in the last 30 years.
Did that make him the common factor in Kenyan politics?
He was definitely the baseline. Even now, we're experiencing a season of loss, and one of the things in the country is missing is that baseline of, are we doing well or are we not doing so well?
There is a vacuum?
Yes, there's a massive vacuum.
Massive?
Yes, absolutely.
No one can feel it?
Not in the same way.
Not in the same way?
Not at all.
What was special about Raila?
Well, he was a man of his time. And each generation has what is special about them. What was special about him in his time and his generation was bringing constitutional reform, creating multi-party democracy, devolution. And nobody else could do that or manage to do that except Raila Odinga.
Devolution.
Yes.
What did Raila leave for you in terms of character?
It's very difficult to self-judge your character. One thing that he taught me is to never mock poverty from the comfort of political privilege. Every human being has worth, has what they were brought on this earth to do. And sometimes you'll have situations where they say politicians are giving out money and buying votes and so on. So you cannot condemn a hungry person for accepting food, but at the same time ignoring the system or the structure that caused that person to be in that position or losing that dignity. And therefore leadership should remove the hunger that makes a person or their vote purchasable. I think that's something major that he taught me.
He named you Winnie.
Yes.
Winnie Mandela.
Yes.
Are you Winnie Mandela?
I am named after Winnie Mandela.
I'm wondering why Raila did that.
Well, it might be more of my mother. But certainly our family has, what would be the word? A reverence for the Mandela family and a closeness and similarity. And while Nelson Mandela was in prison and Winnie Mandela was also put in her own detention and removed from society for all those years, at some point in the 80s, my father's story, my parents' story overlapped with the Mandela story. And my mother looked up to Winnie Mandela as a source of strength because by that point she had already done it for over 20 years. And when my mother was pregnant with me, was when Nelson was released from prison. And she said she saw on the television they were walking hand in hand with Winnie out of the famous Robben Island picture. And she felt that if I was a boy, I would be named Nelson. If I was a girl, I'm lucky enough to be named Winnie. Yes.
Winnie,
Yes.
do you feel powerful?
In Nairobi, yes. In Kenya, yes. In New York, perhaps not.
You are powerful in Kenya.
No, I just mean when I'm confident at home. I feel confident where everybody feels confident when they're around, what they're used to. But I probably wouldn't do very well in a Lagos or a New York because of all the noise and people moving around and so on.
What makes you feel confident at home?
I feel confident because of one, the things I've done and what my father has done. I don't walk around town because my father was a thief. I don't hide because he was a thief. I don't. He never murdered anybody. He didn't commit any heinous crime, and that allows me to walk freely and without any sort of guilt. And I think I would use the word confident over powerful. I feel confident.
You were with him in India.
Yes, I was.
What happened?
I can't answer that. I don't know. Till this day, I'm not at peace. I can't confidently answer that question.
When was the last moment with him?
The night before. I spent time with him in his room. He was lying on the bed. I was lying on there was another sort of bed thing. And we just talked and laughed, and we had been in India for a long time. And so we had managed to talk about everything. So, it's quite a hot place. So during the day, we wouldn't really, everybody sort of lazing about. But at night is when we would catch up. So we were just chatting and laughing and just enjoying ourselves.
Did you talk about Kenya?
Yes, we talk about everything.
You talked about Africa.
Absolutely.
He was looking towards the future.
Yes, he was.
At that age, he still had a picture of the future in his mind.
Absolutely, yes.
At that age, he was a man of the future.
Yes, he was. He has always been a man of the future. But at that age, he was, yes. Yes, he was.
What was the picture of the future he had?
Well, his dream for example, Pan-Africanism had never died. I remember that night we were talking about what does Pan-Africanism look like in modern time. Back then, it was about, working together, and actually in the beginning it was about liberation of all African people, or you could say black people, if you include the Caribbean countries and so on. Then it became internal self-governance and countries supporting each other, post-colonialism. After that, African countries went into searching for some form of democracy, and they became very self-centered in their own business. And what are the steps that we need to make? What does modern Pan-Africanism look like for a young person? What's the thing that joins young people across this continent? Yeah.
You are a member of the East African Legislative Assembly.
Yes, I am.
Do you stand for Pan-Africanism?
I absolutely do. In fact, to quote my father, I'm an Afro-optimist. I absolutely believe in the strength in numbers, the power of working together, and I do see it as the only solution for us to move, and also to listen. The future of Africa, or the future of the world, is changing, and everybody in the world has business in Africa, except Africans. Africans don't have business amongst themselves, and we need to look inward and work with each other and help each other to build and make something substantial.
I'm wondering what your mission is at the East African Legislative Assembly.
It's twofold. First, there's the structure of the assembly, which we'll talk about. I may have some issues which prohibit the second thing. So the whole idea of the East African Assembly, or the East African Community rather, was to create stronger ties amongst bordering countries, to ease trade, cost of business, just quality of life, standardization of things like education, and so on. This assembly has been there since the early 2000s. In terms of legislation, they have passed every law to allow that free movement of people. However, in terms of implementation, countries are still looking inward, and therefore it renders this institution immobile, not useful. If we're just meeting and passing laws, but country X won't abide by it, country B will abide by it, it makes it ineffective. And therefore, we have to look at what are some of the other things in terms of today's society that can bring us more connectivity. One of the things I always push for is just the use of technology and barriers stopping technology or the use of technology in more rural domestic settings, such as smart farming or smart healthcare or anything sort of do with that. We're also using technology in terms of protection laws, laws against exploitation of vulnerable groups, women and children. So everything that I look at when I'm in the assembly is looked at more from a technological point of view.
Is the assembly a lame duck?
Those are your words, but the sentiment is true.
What can Winnie do?
It's a very frustrating place to be because you are limited as a member of parliament. As it stands, every resolution of the parliament must go to the summit, which is when the heads of state meet, and they meet once a year, and they decide whether they'll pass those resolutions or not. And implementation, again, is left up to their individual governments. So there's a limit to what I would be able to do.
Is Winnie powerless?
Not necessarily, no. I wouldn't say powerless.